Welcome in, everybody, again to Titans 2. We're not going over there. We are not going away quietly into the night. We did go away for a long time, Jay.
We did.
Can't remember the last time we put out a video around the playoffs or Super Bowl, perhaps. But the Titans weren't in the playoffs, so there's no reason to make a video without the Titans.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jay,
there's been a few changes, Justin. There's been a few changes to this football team. And I don't know how many we've addressed thus far or how little we've addressed thus far, but we're going to get all into that after this post-draft cleanup, Justin. So I don't know if you want to start with free agency. I don't know if you want to start about the new head coach, Brian Callahan, or just this total refresh as a whole. I don't know where you want to start, but go ahead and start us with something, man, because this is a new looking squad we got in Nashville.
I mean, we could have a new, culture change entirely. I don't know. Brian Callahan, it's old news at this point because but it's new to Titans too talking about it. But offensive coordinator from the Cincinnati Bengals is now our head coach. Pretty good pedigree with him, working with Joe Burrow. That's all I know. I don't know what he did before that. Titans landed him, and, I'm excited to see, what a true, offensive-minded head coach finally can do with the Titans. And then having Will Levis, and then, we can talk about the weapons, firstly, in free agency that we brought in, kind of rounding out the roster. I guess we can start there. Do you have any thoughts, any speculation about what we might expect to see from Brian Callahan coming in as his first season as a head coach in the NFL?
Justin, when all these changes went down, and obviously we didn't make any video, I didn't have a whole hell of a lot to say, honestly. I just felt like I was in mourning for a Titans era gone past where it saw the team be a contender for the first time in 20 years. And 2019, 2020, and 2021 were amazing years for this football team. Truly, I always said stop and smell the roses, mostly with Derrick Henry, but, you can zoom out as a whole and appreciate the Vrabel, Tannehill, Henry era as an era of great football, Justin. It was an entertaining team to watch. You knew what you were going to get in and out every week, which was kind of nice, kind of not great, in its own unique ways. But it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. And now it is completely gone. And you're seeing new GM, new head coach, new franchise quarterback. Your, pillar of your franchise superstar, Derrick Henry, is gone to the Baltimore Ravens, which, as much as that stings, you like to see him go to greener pastures, chase a Super Bowl ring. I'm not a Ravens fan by any stretch this year, but I am a 22 fan. And I think a lot of Titans fans are on that same boat because you can't hate the king for going and chasing something like a championship. And I really don't think you're going to get that with the 2024 Tennessee Titans, Justin. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Already thrown in the towel. On the season. I guess we know where your heart lies. Interesting. I was going to piggyback. I get the decision. I get the decision, for Derrick Henry to want to go to a winning team as he enters the twilight of his career with a chance to win a Super Bowl. But Baltimore, dude, no, I don't know if I want Henry to get a ring now because I don't want Baltimore to have another Super Bowl ring over, the Titans, just a bitter rival. So I don't know, kind of conflicted. Obviously, I hope he does well. I hope he rushes for 2,000 yards, but I don't want them to win a Super Bowl with that.
Correct.
But regardless, end of an era. The J-Rob, Vrabel, Tannehill, Henry Titans are gone. And it's funny, talking about the worst of times. The worst times of that awesome era was the playoff loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, who on the other sideline was Brian Callahan. And so now we have gotten him on our team. So maybe, if you can't beat him, join him. Maybe that saying is relevant here. But I'm excited. Maybe just there needs to be a new, just big breath of fresh air with this entire change. You got a new up and coming, hopefully quarterback with Will Levis to work with. And then bringing in weapons. And I guess saying that, I can head right on in, dude. So Firstly, the big splash free agency. Calvin Ridley is the big time player. Well, we got a couple big time players through free agency, but Calvin Ridley on offense is definitely one of them with the contract we gave him. Lining him up with DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, we know that this team was very, very short, has been very short on production from the wide receiver position ever since AJ Brown was traded away for some reason. That's big time why there is a regime change at the GM position. But anyway, so we got Calvin Ridley with the departure of Henry, brought in Tony Pollard. Is that a head scratching move for you? I mean, in hindsight, I think it's going to be more running back by committee. I think we're going to see a split of carries between Tajay Spears, who had a great promising rookie season, to split carries with Tony Pollard. And I think that's where Tony Pollard thrives as well, coming into a system like this, where he was the featured back in Dallas. I think his production went down a little bit, especially in the yards per carry department. But when he shared carries with Ezekiel Elliott, he was a very, very dangerous, player and productive player for the Cowboys. So I think this is a good situation for Pollard. I think this can be a very effective backfield with, Spears and Pollard. Both can catch the ball and run for sure. So I'm excited to see, how Brian Callahan works with both of them. Lloyd Cushenberry, much needed on the offensive line. We needed a good veteran center who has played a lot of good football. I mean, we saw problems all across the line. Center, guard, tackle, all of them. So it's nice to have a good veteran presence right in the middle there. And then to round it out, Jake, I'm just going to finish reading off these names, and you just tell me if you have any thoughts that pop out to you. Right. Kenneth Murray Jr. We saw Azeez Al-Shaair depart, sadly, to the Texans, along with Danico Autry, our two best defenders. Oh, we're just going to go to a division rival here, an up and coming, team, absolutely with the Houston now. So it really hurts to see them walk. But I've never heard of him, Kenneth Murray Jr., a linebacker from the Chargers, but he started for him. I guess his rookie contract expired, so he got 2 years, $18 million. We'll see what he can bring. We absolutely need linebackers. We need depth. We need starters. So hopefully he needs to fill in what Azeez Al-Shaair was doing for us and be effective. And dude, I'm so glad, finally this position group has two hopefully stable and productive veterans. And Chidobe Awuzie, he just came off an injury a couple of years ago from the Cincinnati Bengals. And we traded for L'Jarius Sneed, one of the better, top 10 corners probably in the NFL, coming from the Kansas City Chiefs. Are we no longer worried about our cornerback position anymore, Jake? That is so nice to have locked down in the couple of years to come, hopefully. Lock down, position with lockdown corners.
Hey, all right, okay.
I'm good.
A little bit of
it was an accidental pun, and it happened.
Yeah. A little bit of wordplay to start the season, Justin. I like it. Yeah, Justin, and I'm glad you ended on that lockdown corner note, because the start to free agency for me, you already said I'm jumping off, losing hope. The start of free agency wasn't spectacular for me. Calvin Ridley does not get me super excited. I'm sorry. I know he's kind of a marquee name, and he had a decent year with Jacksonville last year, but they paid him a lot of money to come in, be opposite DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins is not going to be with this squad much longer, probably just 2024, and then he's going to go to greener pastures unless we find some kind of spark here with the start of the Will Levis era. So then Calvin Ridley is going to be your number one. He's also aging a little bit. He's still young now, but he's not getting any younger. And he had the whole thing with his suspension and this and that and other.
Yeah.
It's just not whatever. That's fine. Whatever. It's okay. I'll grade it as okay. B+. And I would love.
Is he better than Nick Westbrook-Ikhine? Because he was pretty much our wide receiver too last year. So as long as he's better than him, it's okay.
Absolutely. A lot of things with this offense, Justin, subtracting the running back spot could obviously improve drastically, and it needed to improve drastically. It needed to change a lot about this offensive philosophy, and this overall team philosophy needed to change, and you're seeing free agency reflect that. Now, flipping sides of the ball, Justin, to those awesome two cornerbacks you mentioned, Chidobe Awuzie from the Cincinnati Bengals and L'Jarius Sneed from the Chiefs. Love this. Love these two guys, physical corners, very good corners. I'm sick of worrying about trotting out Caleb Farley, and I'm sick of worrying about trotting out, roster churning guys who are just playing special team snaps. It's more about keeping up with the Joneses in not only the division, but the entire NFL, Justin. It's about locking down those elite wide receivers that you're seeing in Houston and those elite wide receivers that you are starting to see pop up around the league and stopping these all-out passing attacks, which the Titans are trying to build on their own side of the ball with the addition of Calvin Ridley and in this culture shift, Justin, we're no longer going to be running the ball 25, 30 times a game. We're going to be passing the ball 30 to 40 times a game. And so seeing them beef up that cornerback room, seeing them add a little bit of help with Calvin Ridley, my own personal thoughts about Ridley aside, I do like to see Rand trying to do something there. That being said, Justin, with the addition of Calvin Ridley, with the re-signing of Nick Westbrook-Akina, where does Treylon Burks fit into this? It just feels like he's the odd man out, and he showed up to camp looking a little. I'm not trying to body shame or weight shame or anything, but he just showed up to camp looking a little large, and so it just feels like, why would this new Callahan Rand Carthon regime care about the Treylon Burks pick, back when they traded A.J. Brown? That was J-Rob, Mike Vrabel, two guys who have nothing to do with the current day Titans. They're not going to hang on to Treylon Burks much longer unless, I like Treylon Burks. I want to see him do well, but time's ticking, man. And if he doesn't come out screaming on this season, he's going to be yet another first-round pick. I mentioned Caleb Farley earlier. Brutal draft picks from the prior regime in Tennessee, and you're seeing that all come to a head, and you're going to see these guys start falling by the wayside, which it's tough, man. We are a rebuilding squad, and I've likened it to moving to a new school, and I don't know anybody, man. Derrick's gone, Mike Vrabel's gone, Ryan Tannehill's gone, AJ Brown's gone, Danico Autry gone. Like, Big Jeff is the only guy left.
Yeah.
And
Bayard's gone.
Lawan gone. Everybody. And while it sucks, that's what NFL is, man. NFL stands for not for long, and blink and you'll miss it. And so that's where we stand today with this Tennessee Titans team. I think Buck Reising said it the best. Is that how you say it? Riesling? Buck Rising?
I heard it Rising.
Rising. Buck Rising. Yeah. See, this damn Yankee up here can't get in with the Tennessee locals. Buck Rising said it best, where he's actually excited to watch Titans football this year because you don't know what you're going to get whatsoever. This is a complete pick up the carpet, shake out the dirt, flip it upside down, and start completely brand new with an entirely new regime, new squad. And
the best part is kind of like how you're saying it, is that we have no expectations, really. Nobody expects the Titans to do anything. There's no pressure. If there is pressure, it's to see development from Will Levis for sure. But nobody's expecting the Titans to do anything. And you know what? This is where the Titans thrive the most. And I think we can win some games. This year. I agree with Buck on that.
But with the Vrabel Titans, I said it as a nice thing earlier, but there's also an ugly underbelly to getting the same thing every week. And at the end of the Mike Vrabel era, over the past 16 to 20 games, Justin, it felt like you wanted to bash your head into a wall watching the Titans, because it was the same shit over and over again that did not work anymore. Like, it worked in 19, 20, 21, and early 2022, but the wheels fell off of the car. And Mike Vrabel said, no, let's just put some gas in it. We don't need new tires. We don't need a new engine. Let's just put some gas in it and keep going. And it was absolutely brutal. It was hard to watch. And now, like you said, no expectations. Nobody knows what to expect at all from this Titans team, other than you're going to have, big gun show Will Levis slinging the rock 40 times a game. And that's going to be a big culture shift for this Titans
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
So all's that to say, long word vomit, word salad over. Uh, man, I just don't know. I do think that the over under of 5.5 wins this season for the Titans is mad disrespectful, and I love getting 6 wins or more. I can almost personally guarantee that. Knock on wood. There goes our whole season, Justin. I jinxed it right here. But
Yeah.
I have a little bit of faith. I don't know what out of 10. What would you rate your faith level in the squad? I know you're always going to say 10 out of 10, Justin, but
Yeah. You know who you're talking to.
realistic expectations. Where do you see this Titans team landing? I mean, with a whole new, brand new identity. I mean, who's to say what happens?
I know. If I'm being completely honest, there's so many unknowns, with the players we brought in, with this new coaching staff, what kind of scheme and just coaching team philosophy we're going to have. What kind of team is this going to be? We do look decently strong in some spots. I mean, the defense looked extremely weak coming into the offseason, but we've added 2 stud corners. We'll see what we get out of Kenneth Murray Jr. You got Big Jeff hopefully coming back 100% healthy. And we're probably about to get to the draft right now, but pairing him with the 2nd round draft pick, another big time guy on the line. You got Harold Landry and Arden Key, rushing the passer from the edge. I still don't have a hope that this defense can be anything. I mean, they'd be lucky to be top 15, I think, in the league. I think we're going to struggle at spots there. But I think we got some guys, and I think we got some guys to work with on offense as well. I think that, just Brian Callahan has got to find ways to utilize the weapons that he does have right now. So it'll be interesting. And expectation level out of 10, expecting us to get 10 wins or like a playoff spot?
No,
just 6 wins or a playoff spot?
Personal scale, 1 to 10. Nothing with wins or playoff spots at all. What is your faith level with the new regime? Because I don't know if it's just me personally. I don't see the vision yet. I don't see. I'm going to need some proof of concept before I buy in on these Titans. Going back to the new school analogy, I don't know if I want to sit with this team at lunch yet, Justin. I don't know them. I'm going to need some coaxing, some introduction and proof of concept for these Titans, because Amy Adams-Strunk, Rand Carthon are coming in shooting from the hip saying this shit is going to change. Boom, boom. John Robinson, Mike Rabel, boom, boom, you're done. And now here comes Rand Carthon and Brian Callahan, and they're tasked with rebuilding this ship. And I know it's not going to happen overnight, but I'm just going to need to see something. I want to see something early to buy in. Versus, the jury's still out on Will Levis. There's flashes. You love the toughness. You love the competitiveness of Will Levis. And that's drawing me in a little bit with some intrigue. But I just want to know where you're at as a fan, where you're okay. So I'm going to reword the question, Justin. 1 out of 10, how much faith do you have in the Rand Carthon, Brian Callahan regime as it stands today?
It's tough. I think you made a good point. What is the vision? I don't even know what the vision is going forward. It feels like we're getting just a mishmash of players together, and I think we've made some good moves as far as roster construction. But what kind of team are we going to be looking at? And I think it all comes down to how you feel about Will Levis. Do you have your franchise quarterback to work with and to build around? And I think he showed us some good things, some typical rookie bad things in his first season last year. And I don't know. I could give just the shrug answer, a 5 out of 10. I have no idea what to go off of. This is the newest iteration of from one season to the next.
Easily.
In a long time in terms of just the turnover in coaches and players. So I got to be a little optimistic. I'll go with a 6.5 out of 10.
I like it.
We are trending. We are trending in the right direction right now, and I believe there is a plan. There is a vision, something that we're building towards. It's Super Bowl, obviously. That's the easy answer. But having a rookie head coach, I mean, and a second-year GM. I mean, we've got to be the least experienced front office, or if you're including a head coach as front office. But just not a lot of experience at the most important positions, that are not playing on the field. So we'll see how they work together. I am optimistic because I do like a lot of these moves, in hindsight. I wasn't sure how to feel about Tony Pollard. But, you think about if we rebuild this line, he's splitting time with Tyjae Spears, and I think he can be a great complement to this team. But we still have some holes. I hear what you say about Ridley, and I think he's in for a better season than he was last year with the Jags. I don't know. Something weird was going on with the Jags last year.
I agree.
He should have been
fishy.
more productive. Yeah, because they've got they got a decent roster as well, but things just took a terrible turn in the second half of the season. But I can't help but hype myself up, especially after seeing the draft. I like a lot of the moves we made there. What came to us. I know if you want to start getting into that.
Yeah, we can.
A lot of people had Joe Alt pegged as the Titans for the best tackle in the draft. And so I jumped on that train. Like, if he's there, I say, let's grab him. So after seeing him fall, a couple receivers, right? It was just Marvin Harrison, or did Neighbors? I think Neighbors got
Neighbors went
after
Joe Alt.
Yeah. And
Joe
I think those were
5.
two. Yeah. So the draft did not really swing the Titans' way. I think the Titans definitely were going to take Alt if he was there. So we take Latham, right tackle, the lesser of the two important tackle positions. You want to have a solid left tackle, what they say, protecting the blind side, usually going against the best edge rusher against a given opponent. But then I didn't know, like, the Bill Callahan, the father of Brian Callahan, the offensive line coach, came out that his favorite player in the entire draft was Latham. And he can work some magic with some offensive linemen. He's a O-line whisperer, if you will. So maybe it'll help entirely. And as long as if he's a stud at right tackle, then it's the right pick. It's not your left side guy, but we need good, solid players on this offensive line wherever we can find them and land them.
Yeah, Carthon did come out and say that he will be starting at left tackle. Well, not like starting right away, but he will be starting out working at left tackle, which he did play in high school, which, okay, all right. If you want to play the Alt versus Latham game, Joe Alt was recruited as a tight end out of high school, whereas Latham played left tackle in high school, was recruited as a tackle, went to Alabama and said, I'll take what I can get and move to the right side because they had another NFL-worthy left tackle already at the time. So if Bill Callahan can coach him up and get him back to that left side, I like this pick. I like a big, imposing dude. Hopefully he comes in. Nick Saban gave a shining review on the night of the draft. So, I feel like if Saban signs off on you, of course he's going to sign off on all of his guys. But if Saban signs off, I feel like especially at a tough position like offensive line, I feel like that dude is ready to come in and work and not be an Isaiah Wilson 2.0, which is the last thing the Titans need right
now. Certainly not. Well, I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you actually follow the team, Jake, and keep up with the team to correct me. You listen to the quotes and things that our GM has said. So that's good. Man, if he can work some magic and then he can just seamlessly make that transition to the left side, then all the better. The left side could be pretty stout. If Latham works out, we got Skoronski, another first rounder coming into his second year now, and then our new center, Lloyd Cushenberry. That'd be pretty nice. It'd be a pretty good start in rebuilding this offensive line. I'll take that.
I agree.
So we'll see. It was a position of need regardless. So you gotta, who else are you going to get? Honestly, I had Brock Bowers kind of in the back of my head.
No, Justin, no.
You don't think?
No,
we need a tight end.
You have to. We have watched this offensive line become absolute. I mean, I want to use a nice word. It was terrible, Justin, in the later half of 2022, and we said it can't get worse in 2023, surely. And then it got a lot worse in 2023 to be one of the possibly the worst line in the NFL. So it was all offensive linemen. I was happy. If they took Brock Bowers, I was going to be upset. So that is funny. We had
If he
dissenting
becomes the next
opinions.
Travis Kelce, if he becomes the next Travis Kelce, I will tell you. I will just know.
We'll dig up this footage.
You're right. I think I just need to go back and watch some highlights and see Will Levis get pummeled to death without a chance in the world to make a throw because he's got defenders in his face. Watching Dennis Daly get beaten time and time again. Andre Dillard just getting smoked. Yeah, then I would be like, oh yeah, of course we're going to take a line. I think
it had to be alignment. But then after that, Justin, this is the more controversial pick, we'll say, in the Titans draft, going to the second round, 38th overall, T'Vondre Sweat, little brother of is it Josh Sweat with the Eagles?
Josh Montez. There's been a lot of sweats.
There are a few sweats floating around. Yeah, there are a lot of sweaty football players in the NFL for sure. But T'Vondre Sweat, defensive tackle, Texas. The Titans added over 700 pounds of human being, Justin, in their first two picks. The knock on this guy is that he needs to keep his weight under control, and he's only going to be a two-down player. He's going to be your Tier Tart kind of guy in the middle to kind of be a disruptor, eat up space. And he had a lot of pop on his college tape. He had a DWI during the draft process, which added to the, he's overweight, DUI, Isaiah Wilson talk. And which, granted, you have to do your homework, and hopefully this regime did their homework a little better than the last one, Justin, because if this guy can pair with Jeff Simmons, you have your defensive front fortified, you have your defensive backfield fortified, especially at cornerback, and you have Amari Hooker coming back to this team. There's a little bit of a hole at safety still, which they did go to later in the draft, but we'll see if that pans out. But this was the more controversial pick of the entire 7 rounds, Justin. I don't know what you make of it, but we'll see, man. This could be I feel like a boomer bust spot.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. It does have rumblings of Isaiah Wilson. Will he come in and work at it and how he's motivated? I mean, he's going to be playing in the same position group as literally the leader of maybe this entire team, if it's not Will Levis, and Jeffrey Simmons. So he's going to have that influence in his ear. I love what came out after he was drafted about. I think Rand Carthon said that he got a text almost immediately from Jeff Simmons, like "Thank you so much" or something.
Yeah.
So he's pumped. So hopefully he can take him under his wing. And Jeffrey Simmons is another player that dropped in the draft. We got him late first round, and he dropped because he had a bad viral video come out after high school or something. I don't know, not to get into all that, but dude, everything we've seen from Jeff Simmons is a high character guy and one of the best defenders in the National Football League. So, I mean, it was the DUI thing. I mean, you hate to see that, but dude, people make mistakes, and unless it's like a constant pattern of things, that's your red flag right there. But it's something that he could put behind him, that quickly, and you'd forget about it in a couple of years. Be like, oh yeah, he had that thing come out, DUI, and that ended up being nothing. He's been nothing but a stand-up guy and a solid player for us since then. So hopefully it's that. It's just all speculation.
Absolutely.
But yeah, dude, it's fun. I got the receipts on my phone. I was texting some friends, as our pick was coming up, and I was like, dude, we got to go D-line. I want to see a defensive lineman here with this pick, because we can't just have Jeff Simmons. You like Harold Landry, and then Arden Key is up and down on the edge, but I thought we needed a big time run stuffer that could also rush the passer. I don't think Sweat is as much of a pass rushing interior guy like Aaron Donald was, I guess. But no one like Aaron Donald, but I guess that is concerning. You want to get more out of a high pick like this than a 2-down player is what everybody's calling him. But I don't know, man. I mean, if he's a stud and he frees up Jeff Simmons and he can take on 2 blockers and we can get sacks on first and second down, I mean, that's a huge difference maker for this team. So I like it again as a position of need. I'm not super well researched in draft personnel, so I don't know the offensive linemen ahead of him or that were available still with him at the time,
Mhm.
and when we could have gone with another player at a similar position. I don't know. I'm sure there were people that we would have fans or whoever would have rather had than Sweat, but yeah, I was gonna say doing their due diligence and really looking into this guy. Yeah, the team like flew to Texas and like hung out with his entire family for like days to really get a gauge. So I think this is a
Mhm.
player the Titans had spotted for a long time, and they wanted to make sure that they were going to make the right decision. So you like to see that. You like to see them really digging deep into the character and the kind of guy that they're going to be drafting. I mean,
For sure.
yeah, this is big time for Rand and Callahan both.
It's
Like it's
huge.
very,
Huge.
very big for their long term prospects to really nail this draft and nail this free agency to really get this rebuild really going right off the bat. So we'll see. First 2 rounds, 2 positions of need badly on this team, and we went with it. So I like it. I give a B+ at worst. To the first two
so
rounds.
so far
I'm
so good.
happy about
So far so
it.
good. Yeah, hard to complain about the first two picks, Justin. We'll see how each of these guys pan out. Like I said, 700 pounds between the first two draft picks. I mean, that's a lot of NFL player. Hopefully that pays dividends in production as well. Moving on to the fourth round pick, Justin, 106th overall. I really actually, this might have been my favorite pick of the draft. Cedric
Okay.
Gray, linebacker out of UNC. He's going to be that, hopefully, is it blue dot, green dot, orange dot, whatever it is, play calling
It's a bit,
linebacker
yeah,
in
green
the
dot, I
middle.
think.
Green dot, it sounds right. He's going to be that kind of presence in the middle. He seems like he's a really motivated guy. He played really great edge to edge for North Carolina last year. Love to see that kind of attacking, slashing linebacker pickup, especially as you noted earlier in the video, Justin. This is a position of need for the Titans. One could argue it was more of a need than the defensive tackle, Tavondre Sweat. I beg your pardon. It was more of a need than that, but they went defensive tackle with their second pick, waited all the way almost 70 picks later to pick up their linebacker prospect. And hopefully this guy can pan out and be that green dot player, as I said. So this was one of my more likable pickups, I will say.
Okay.
I think he's a high motor dude. I obviously didn't watch a lot of North Carolina Tar Heel action last year, Justin, but he just seems like a guy who flies sideline to sideline. We need a high motor linebacker, and that's exactly what they went out and got in Cedric Gray.
Yeah. I mean, we need the we talked about Kenneth Murray Jr. coming in, but like we've had some good linebackers just come in spurts. Of course, Al-Shaair last year, but then also for a couple of years, man, wow, what's his name? We got him in a late round draft pick. He went to Miami. David Long Jr. Talking about a guy
Yes.
who can just fly around and be around the ball, just has
Correct.
a true nose for the football. That's absolutely a guy that we need for this defense. Like you, I don't know. I didn't never heard of him. Didn't watch a lot of North Carolina football. But yeah, in terms of a position of need and the kind of player that we're looking for to add to this defense, I like the position pick there. And I've only heard good things really, about him. I listen to Titans radio, and Mike Keith can make any player sound like a Hall of Fame, when talking about him.
Isn't
So,
that the truth, dude? You hit the nail on the head right there.
yeah,
Oh man.
he'll talk up anybody that the Titans pick. The ultimate optimist. He'd be a great to have on Titans too. Speaking of optimism.
Hey,
Um,
I'm not trying to be gloom and doom here, Justin. I want it to be noted. I'm not trying to be gloom and doom. Like I said, it's the best way I can describe the feeling I have. It feels like I moved to a new school, and I
yeah.
don't have any friends yet, but we'll make friends. It's okay. It heals with time. I'm still in a little bit of mourning of one of my favorite era of Titans football I've ever gotten to witness.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm not trying to be gloom and doom. I will be optimistic come September, Justin. I promise you that. We're going to score 30 so many times this
Oh,
year. So many times. The first time I see a
dude.
3 on that scoreboard, not being a field goal, I might cry. I might shed a tear the first time we score 30 this year. And I think it will happen. I think it will happen.
What if it happens week 1? That would be the most hilarious thing and the best thing that could ever happen. I don't know who our opponent is. We know who our opponents are, but we don't have the schedule lined out.
Correct.
Dude, that I would just be jumping off the wall if that happens. We've waited over 2 years for that to happen now. In Titans fashion, we would probably still lose the game, but I don't know.
Yeah, in overtime for sure.
In overtime.
Oh man, but
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I forgot what we were saying. But hopefully you'll be buying a Cedric Gray jersey at some point.
Yes, okay. Absolutely. I'll put a green dot on my hat, and we'll call some plays, and we'll be very active in the linebacking region there. Justin, we'll move on to these later round guys. Obviously, we might go through them a little quicker. 5th round, 146th pick was Jarvis Brown Jr., who was another cornerback out of Louisville, the University of Louisville. Yeah. I again didn't watch a lot of Louisville football, but from what I've seen on this guy, he is a very aggressive corner, gets in your shit, very physical. And that is going to pair well with Snead, and that's going to pair well with Awuzie. And we haven't even mentioned having I'm blanking on names too. Who's our 3rd quarterback, Justin? The guy from Auburn, McCreary. Thank you. Is he from Auburn? Yeah,
not LSU. Yes. That was Fulton.
Yes,
Fulton was
correct. Yeah, and going with McCreary. So that obviously, I think I mentioned it earlier in the video. See ya, Caleb Farley. I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. And if this guy can come in and gel and be mentored by veterans like Snead, like Awuzie, and McCreary has only gotten better since he got drafted in Tennessee, there's just going to be a numbers game, and you're going to see Caleb Farley go to the wayside if he can't pick up a special teams role, which Caleb Farley, you want to root for him. It's such a sad, brutal story. But at the end of the day, I think he's going to be the odd man out on this roster, Justin. So hopefully Jarvis can come in, be a contributor in that cornerback room.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's coming into a great situation. He's not expected to come in and start. I mean, if he does well in training camp and can work his way up the roster to be that 4th, and maybe, I don't know. I think he said in a press conference after he was drafted, somebody asked him if he liked playing on the outside or inside. He said he kind of likes the inside slot corner position. I mean, he said he's going to say he loves both. He can play both if asked, but if he had to choose one, he likes playing that slot position. So I don't know. Maybe he might swap some snaps with McCreary in that position. But yeah, I mean, we're going to need another guy. You can't have. It's become a popular saying, but you can't have too many good corners on your roster.
100%.
They can be a dime a dozen. I mean, we know that, dude. We've had lots. I don't know. We did have a couple good years, like when we had Malcolm Butler and Logan Ryan, and I can't remember who had. I thought we had another good guy on the outside as well. We've had some. Your memory gets. You have a short memory whenever you go through the last few years that we've been through.
Yep.
With the lack of solid cornerback play and the resources we've invested in it, that it just didn't work out, like a Caleb Farley 1st round pick and what have you. But yeah, I mean, we're still talking about a 6th round pick. I mean, so yeah, there's not going to be a lot of expectation, but if he can come in and provide some rotational, meaningful snaps, this is probably going to be a guy you're going to see on special teams coverage a lot. And hey, special teams may be more valuable than ever now with the new kickoff rule. And
absolutely.
More to cover, obviously with kickoffs. Punt coverage is always going to be there and important, but kickoff coverage is now going to be a thing now.
For sure.
So it's going to be big to have guys that can cover the field. Position of need. Sure, we've got good guys at the top, but you can always do better on the depth side of things. So I think that's what this was. Sounds like a very, very confident guy. Of course, he had a lot to say about, I felt like I should have gone sooner. I thought I'm better than many of the guys that were drafted ahead of me, and yada yada yada. So he's got that dog mentality about him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, there you go. No, wait. fifth round pick. I think I said
Fifth
sixth.
round.
So
yes.
okay, well,
Good
then
correction.
that changes
Good
it.
correction.
That changes everything.
CB1.
He needs to take over the starting job by the end of the year, and if not, I mean, he's a failure. So no, but yeah, excited about Jarvis Brownlee from Louisville.
Perfect. Perfect. Good pronunciation there. Louisville.
Not Louisville or Louisville. If you say Louisville, good.
I'm getting knocked as a Yankee everywhere on this video. All right, going to the sixth round, 182nd overall, Justin. We are reuniting some Green Wave teammates and roommates, Justin. Roommate of Tyjae Spears, Jaquin Jackson, wide receiver, Tulane, coming in to be another depth piece on this wide receiving core. And we'll see if he works his way to a roster spot, Justin, because like you said, you can't have too many good cornerbacks. With this Titan squad, you can't have too many good wide receivers, man. We need some wide receiver help, and he's going to come in and try and provide it.
Yeah. I mean, so we'll see. There's so many questions after Ridley, Hopkins. Burks is going to be there. I think Callahan and company, we're going to try to squeeze any kind of production we can out of Burks. But again, this is a J-Rob regime guy, so he's definitely walking after his rookie contract. So while he's cheap, I know he's a first-round pick, but I guess while he's cheap-ish, they're going to try to put him and see what they can work with at wide receiver 3. You got NWI. He will just not go away back there.
Never, ever. I love him.
Yeah, I know. At the end of the season, he's going to end up being the wide receiver 2 for whatever reason. Injuries.
Yep.
One of the guys isn't going to produce. Who knows? So he's going to be there. Then after that, I mean, you've got Kyle Phillips. How do we feel about him at this point? You've got, I don't know, Mason Kinsey. Who else do we have?
That's about it.
I don't know.
I mean,
Jaquin Jackson definitely has a great opportunity here to make a name for himself and be on this roster and maybe provide some good snaps. I mean, you'd like to think Hopkins and Ridley are the outside guys. Burks can play the outside, but I keep hearing talk about him being our slot receiver. But as you said, he looked pretty chunky coming in, so you need to be that quick, shifty guy playing in the slot. So I think Jackson is on the smaller side in his frame, so maybe he can work himself into being a slot receiver. If, of course, Kyle Phillips can't be bothered to stay healthy and be productive at that position. What are his abilities at punt returning, kick returning? Is there anything there for him as well? We'll see. But again, we were looking for a receiver in this draft. It did come a little later than what a lot of people were probably hoping. So it's fine. I don't have strong opinions about a 6th round pick at this point, one way or the other.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll see if he can come in.
Yeah, the one thing I did see, he was billed as a dynamic returner, Justin. He had 6 career muffs at Tulane. No, please. That's the last thing. No more muffing. Get me a guy who can catch punts, please. Vrabel said it, and I think Callahan's going to say it too. We have a guest knocker over here who's just going to town on the shelf there.
Let's go.
Big
time
shelf knockdown. But getting to our 2 7th-round guys, Justin, wrapping it up, we have James Williams, who is a safety out of Miami, Florida, and Jalen Harrell, an edge rusher out of the University of Michigan. Justin, I know a lot of fans are going to say this about their 7th-round guys, but I think we got 2 steals here. And I'm going to tell you why. One, all right, James Williams, I don't know if you saw the draft call. He was broken down in tears talking about, I'm going to get my name called. And a lot of people were high on this guy, evidently, coming out of Miami. And people who watched the Hurricanes last year said, this guy's a dog. And so hopefully the 7th rounder can come in with that chip on his shoulder, use that emotion to his advantage, and come in and contribute to this football team. Now, Jalen Harrell, edge rusher, Michigan, led a national champion in sacks last year.
Hello.
Okay. All right.
Hey,
7th.
One of the best defenses in the country. Wasn't Michigan up there as one of the best defense? It's because of Jalen Harrell. Why did he drop so far? What's going on here?
Who's to say? So I think there's potential for one of these 2 guys both of these guys, something about these 2 7th-round selections spoke to me when they happened. And I don't know if that's me being a homer, if that's me manifesting some optimism for the crew here, but we'll see, man. We will see if they come in, contribute to this roster over time. But I just thought those were two interesting picks, especially Harrell, leading, like I said, leading a champion in sacks and dropping that far. That's an interesting prospect there.
Yeah, I'll have to look into like what his draft grade or whatever was, or what the little blurbs that they have written about guys. And then he might not have any. Sometimes guys that get drafted this low, there's like no research done. But how can there not be things said about a guy that led a national champion team in sacks? So we'll see. I mean, but it happens. People blow up the stat sheet all the time. The guy from Tennessee, Derek Barnett's all-time Tennessee leader in sacks. He was a first rounder, and I think he's a decent starter, but he's not a Pro Bowler, coming in. But yeah, and going back to James Williams too, I was going to ask you, like, what are the most pressing roster needs you think? I don't know if I know who our safeties are. Amani Hooker, and who else do we have? Do we have Eric Guerra still, or
no?
I don't know. Maybe James Williams can come in and be
there. You go. There's another. Like you said, you have an opportunity. Go get it. Especially with this rebuilding roster. I mean, all these guys have a chance to come in and really fight for roster spot, fight for playing time, because it is. I did the illusion of shaking the rug, dude, and these dudes are flying off left and right. We don't know anybody. Come in and make a name for yourself. This is a new time, new era in Tennessee. Come be the leader in it, because you look around the locker room and you think, other than young hotshot Will Levis, you have D-Hop, who is only in his 2nd year here, and you have Big Jeff Simmons. And those are your two big veterans on this team. I guess you could count Hooker as a veteran in the defensive backfield, but he still even seems relatively young in the grand scheme of things. So we'll see how it goes, man. It'll be interesting to see how all of these guys from top to bottom come in and make a name for themselves in Tennessee. Maybe, if we're lucky.
Dave, you got me excited. You got me feeling like I could walk into Titans training camp and get a roster spot. The opportunity is there. This is a new era. Justin is coming in with pads, and he's going to knock somebody.
Can you play O-line? Can you play O-line, Justin? Please.
Need to add a good 250. Well, I'm already kind of getting heavier, so I don't know. I could do it. I need to grow about half a foot.
You never know. Late bloomers happen all the time. Late growth spurt, Justin. No,
mid-30s is when I'm taking off, dude. I got this.
Well, man, that kind of rounds it out. I don't know if you have anything left to say other than looking forward to getting into this football season. The draft always provides a little twinkle in your eye that reminds you, I love football. I love watching football. It's good to see just moving colors throwing around this egg-shaped, brown ball. We'll see if the Titans can cobble together something in this new era. And like I said, I don't want to be doom and gloom, man. I'm not trying to be that guy. I just want to see it happen. And like Buck Rising said, I mean, it's going to be at least interesting to tune into. At least you're not going to know week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 what the hell is going to happen. And that is something that could not be said for the Mike Vrabel era. And so, optimism is abound. I mean, you're going to have to try and make something of it, right? I mean, that's kind of how we're putting a bow on this whole draft free agency conversation. Is there's a lot of opportunities to make new names in Tennessee and meet new faces and be the franchise guy if you so want it. Come and get it,
Absolutely.
And so
that's the thing. Zero expectations. So go make a name for yourself. Make something happen. Be that franchise guy. I like it.
Absolutely.
I'm excited, Dave. I kind of
slamming over 5.5. Also, I mean, Calvin Ridley especially. He needs to get some action in Tennessee. Slam that over 5.5.
I hope he does not do that publicly. He can contact me. I'll make the bet for him. And
no, Justin, did you not learn anything from Shohei Ohtani? Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, that guy too. Oh God. It's what a mess. Sports betting has really taken over the sports world, but that'll be a conversation for another day. It's not good.
Absolutely.
Too big. Anyway.
Well, we're coming around the corner. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the start of a new season of Titans Tube, a very fresh season of Titans Tube. We will see how it goes throughout the year. Justin, do you have anything to take us to the farm?
No, not really. Thank you guys. Yes, thanks. We're back. We are back, and we probably won't see you again until week 1 with the rate that we put out videos in the off season.
Yeah.
But it was fun, dude. I like getting on here. I feel like I get another kick in the butt of motivation of getting excited about Titans football every time we come on here.
Awesome.
The draft does that too. So I'm excited. Just a few months away. It'll go by in a flash. So it'll be here before you know it. But thank you guys for tuning in. For sure.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Tighten up, y'all, and we will see you in the next one. Catch you later.